What is going on, guys? DBG here, and today we're going to be talking about kind of the truth about the bans, because we're seeing a lot of, especially like the day it came out, the day it happened, and yesterday, because a lot of people just weren't able to compete with Spotlight Sims. We saw a lot of like ultra people getting very almost kind of making emotional responses to the bans, and I feel like it's justified. I feel like it's justified because the vast majority of people who got banned are people who have put a significant amount of both time and money, blood, sweat and tears into my team, not only this year but for a lot of years. That is a significant amount of the people that got banned. So it's understandable that a lot of people did get banned were more emotionally invested in the game than say a lot of people that didn't get banned. But we gotta talk a little bit about the entire situation, because again, all of this is bringing out kind of the worst in people. And as somebody who is normally that person that will overreact on a camera in order to take one side heavily or another side heavily, depending on what my opinion is, I think that I'm lucky enough that I can be in a position I'm in to maybe change a few people's minds towards not necessarily the just the bans themselves, but towards everything about it. So, in reality, why are people so annoyed with this scenario? What is the big issue? Because I think almost every single person, like we just saw a tweet from Richie out here, again, another person who might be further than me on a blacklist. You're still seeing, like, obviously this is only trending for me, but you're still seeing my team trending. You're still seeing 2,000 my team tweets. You're seeing all of this. It just feels like, for people that are hardcore players, it feels like community's out of touch. Heck, there's an ad right here of Terrence Ross playing this game, where you guys can clearly see this is a Season 2 squad. And Karl Anthony Towns, Jalen Duren's 30k, Cat's 45k. This is a squad from Season 2. And a lot of people are getting annoyed because they're like, you can fly out an NBA player, pay the NBA player for an appearance, get him to do this ad, and it will probably cost, that probably cost the exact same amount. This ad that they're going to show 2 months after they freaking released it is probably going to cost the same amount as bringing in everyone for 250k. At the end of the day, 250k is a PR tournament. We all kind of know that. I'll talk about that a little bit later. But I just want to kind of put everyone's to talk about everyone's attitudes towards everything, because there are two ways to look at this, and I don't think either way. I think there are merit to both arguments. I've made plenty of videos in the past. I personally think empty bots, empty selling ruins the game. I think empty selling ruins the game. I genuinely do. I think it's the reason why cards are expensive. We saw bots out, like, making cards ridiculously overpriced. I think that as a concept ruins the game. It does. I genuinely think, and I stand by that. I think that empty sites ruin the game. They run the auction house. There is a risk of getting banned. I've seen there are empty websites that guarantee you won't get banned. I think that it's something that if you promote it, it should be a permaban. I genuinely do think that this is a horrible thing for the game. But the issue is that there's more issues that it's caused. So if you're looking at this right, if you're looking at the auction house situation right here, there are no cards in the auction house, and everyone's going to be like, oh, that's the reason of MT selling. Everyone's buying MT instead of buying VC. We got to look at the why. We really do have to look at the why. So from your perspective, 2K, I saw a really good tweet from Between the Threes. Between the Threes had a really good tweet a few days ago, or was it yesterday? He had a really good tweet, and I cannot agree more with it. So he basically said here, I sincerely hope the discussion in 2K isn't, I'm glad we gave all those slaps on the wrist yesterday, which 10-day ban is a little more than a slap on the wrist, I'm not going to lie, because of the timing of the 10-day ban. I will talk about that a little bit later. And instead is, why do so many people buy from third party instead of buying VC? And there is big reasons for that. First of all, and I tweeted out as well. I said I think empty selling is bad for my team. It inflates the price of every card and they control the market. This shows how few people are opening packs. 2K need to be proactive in making VC a comparable amount or it won't stop. 2K took action they needed to, but now it's their turn to change, which is on the money. I actually think 2K, I think the timing of the bans were objectively wrong. I think it is objectively wrong because when, for example, if they do, the people that are buying MT that got banned, if 2K made VC more affordable and made it better, they are the most likely people to be purchasing VC. But what is happening with this 10-day ban, especially because of spotlights, you're going to be seeing a lot of guys quitting the game. So 2K have turned away a lot of guys. So basically, if 2K's plan is to keep everything going the way they are, just banning everybody and just having every card basically be extinct because no one's putting money in their game and losing money overall. If that's what their plan is and they think that banning everybody is going to make them more money, it's going to fail miserably. It makes perfect sense banning them for Spotlight Sims. If their plan is we want everyone who had purchased MT to leave and give up this game, then it's worked. If their plan is we want people to start buying more VC, what they have done, unless they change, is objectively bad. And then again, I said here, 2K have created a system where if you want to get a card legitimately, you spend 5 to 10 times as much, be forced to gamble. Let's not forget that. It's also being forced to gamble in a 3+ game, be forced to gamble. And I genuinely think you can make the ethical argument that it is more ethical to buy MT than buy VC. I think you can make the argument. I'm not going to make the argument. I don't think it's a good thing to buy either. I don't think it's a good thing to buy either. But I think you can make that argument. But I'm not going to be a person grandstanding MT websites. I'm not going to be a person grandstanding MT selling because they are objectively bad for the game. I think everyone would rather 2K just make it in a way that people don't feel like they need to spend 10 grand on a card and be forced to gamble to get a card. I think people just don't want that. And it says, to get similar value, players deserve their bans, but 2K need to change. And I stand by that so much. I think that anyone complaining about the bans, I think everyone who got banned deserved their ban. Again, I have no idea if I've got banned. I'm not making this based on the fact that I've been banned or not banned. Man, I am just, because I didn't get Iji and Lian, which means that like he would have been the only player in my Xbox squad that would objectively have just made my PlayStation squad that I couldn't afford. Like my Xbox squad was like really cheap. I just spent all my MT locking in on BS cards. So like my PlayStation squad today, when I get Kevin Garnett, is gonna be probably better than my Xbox squad would have been. So it was the right time to move over because less people. And because I'm not gonna be using that Xbox account for ain't really anymore, I might as well just not look at it. I might as well just I honestly just might as well not look at it at all. Because it's funny. Calling Schrodinger's account is just funny for me anyway. But it's an issue with 2K. But at the end of the day, I do believe that every person's in the wrong. But then there's the opposite side here. So it says here, I don't usually do this, but I want to provide a disclaimer. This weekend we're going to be doing, we do every week, an unbiased opinion. From the astronomical cost of VC to the harsh realities of game experience reduced. We will have a panel that cover every spectrum of the conversation. Look, I don't know if I'm around this week. This is one of these podcasts where I don't know if I'm the best person to have on it, because I'm someone that will probably say something that will get him into a lot of trouble. So I may not be the best person to have on it. I really may not be. But the fact that Jazz is willing to talk about this is big. It says we'll have a panel to cover every spectrum of the conversation. We'll have a detailed debate in a situation that could show a different side to the controversy and lead us to a long-term solution. There is one long-term solution, and there is no conversation that creators can have with other creators that will affect anything. The long-term solution has to come internally from 2K. There's nothing that I can say. There's nothing that Jazz can say. There's nothing that any of us can say that can change anything. We will see on Friday. By the time of this podcast, we will know. We will know if anything is going to change. Because if we see packs that cost the same amount of MT with the same odds on Friday, nothing's going to change. Then it means that they actively want everyone who bought MT out of the game. They actively want them out of the game. Because I think that if they made an adjustment, those people that were banned might end up being their biggest customers if they can make an adjustment. But I don't think they will. Says level toxicity surrounding bans on both sides. Horrendous. Today on stream I pointed out empty sites are listed off the grid websites. They're not off the grid. Like they're based in China. They're the very least involved in. I'm not going to say that. I'm not going to accuse any of these companies of this. I wouldn't be surprised. I'm not going to be the person to say that. And I'm genuinely not going to be. Like, you can look up all the articles you want about these websites. They're shady. I wish they never existed, but I'm not going to go out and say that. I had someone in stream say, calling you a hypocrite, what culture you try and promote in the community. There's not one person that is, like, I think the argument of being anti-MT sites and being pro-VC aren't the same arguments. They really aren't. I think that there can be a debate. Like, it's a debate of the lesser of two evils. Like, you can argue that the chicken and egg situation, like, is MT selling caused by 2K, or has 2K's ridiculous monetization practices been caused by MT selling and people not buying VC and then wanting to squeeze everything out of the whales or the gambling addicts? Because let's be real, the only people that are buying packs consistently every week are guys who either have more money, either have an incredible amount of money and they have more money, they don't really care, or they're gambling addicts. Your entire reviews, whether it be on 2K or someone that is mocking those that got banned, isn't the content you will enjoy. We're here for the conversation. And yeah, I don't disagree with anything Jazz said right there. I think it is a conversation we need to be had. Because I think that people in the community do need to kind of see all sides of the situation. Like, 2K banned people for breaking terms of service, but 2K also put in a system where, again, I don't know if I've been banned or not, but it's clear almost every single content creator in the last 3 years, other than JD crossover, he is the only person that I can confidently say in the last 3 years has not bought MT. I know creators that spend 10 grand a year on packs. But they just need like an extra 200k MT for a video. They need to wait 4 hours for their card to sell, and they need to get the video out quickly, and have resorted to buying a tiny bit of MT while spending 10 grand on packs, and they're all packed up. They're packed up because of an entire system. The 4-hour auction house system has caused it as well. Anyone who wants, for example, to sell card A to get card B, if these cards are over 100k, you have to wait 4 hours to sell the card. The 4-hour auction house with no buyouts over 100k is another thing that has caused this. 2K have created an entire system that has basically meant you either spend every cent of your money by gambling, you either spend all your time and money gambling, or you go to a third-party MT site. And that's where the big issue is, or you go to a third-party source for MT. So, what 2K did with these bans and their timing of the bans, we will see on Friday. I think the timing is off because most people that bought MT are guys that are taking this game seriously. And the reason why they bought the MT is because they want cards. They bought the MT because they wanted cards. But they didn't want to gamble for them. They wanted cards, they didn't want to gamble for them. And I actually saw this tweet here from Call Me Meech? And like, this is a mad thing here. He said, I chose to wait to speak. I've seen some stuff going around I simply can't ignore. I'm banned. I set my ban because I know what I was doing. I chose not to gamble the money on VC, which is I genuinely think is an okay choice. You want a card and you don't want to gamble. The only thing you can do is buy MT. I wish there was another way. I hope 2K do give another way, but there's no other way. There isn't. He says, all the time, gamble on VC, all the time because I got a family to feed and other priorities. Exactly. We all have lives. We live in a cost of living crisis. The world is getting more and more expensive. But like, it makes no one who has been banned needs to justify themselves. Whether you're a creator, unless the only people who should be justifying themselves is if they literally the amount of people that like if they made their brand on being no money spent and they got banned. But I don't think there's anyone that did that, because obviously JD didn't get banned. He's the only one that I know of that like builds their whole brand on being no money spent. Same with Most Ballin'. Neither of those guys got banned. That's the only thing, is if you openly like lied and said you were like no money spent and built a brand off that. But at the end of the day, how can anyone begrudge somebody for willing to spend less money on something? Like, for example, to play this game and to build a competitive squad. Like, Meech is Larry Bird. The guy's putting in all this amount of time. Should he have to pay 10 grand a year when he can pay 800 a year to get the exact same outcome through MT and save time as well and not have to gamble? I don't know. I don't understand why he like I understand why he did it, but like the fact that people need to feel the need to almost apologize for this situation and justify their actions when everyone knows exactly why people buy MT. And again, I'm not going to be the person to be like, oh, go buy VC. I genuinely think that the best way to play this game is no money spent. I just got to get back into that mentality of having fun without playing without spending money. But I think that 2K needs to give an alternative for gambling. And a lot of people are like, oh, but FIFA don't. FIFA 30 times the players of my team. Like, there are, like, you can literally, it costs like an average of like $1,000 to go and get yourself, what's his name? To get yourself the, oh, I forgot his name. The dude's freaking cheap. Let's say to get, sorry, like Team of the Year Mbappe. Like, it's not $1,000, it's like 10 grand to get your Team of the Year Mbappe. But there are more Team of the Year Mbappes than Yao Mings. Like, what are we doing now? What are we doing? There's just so many more people playing FIFA. There's so much more money going into that. And there's so much of a bigger fan base for Ultimate Team than my team. And the big issue is that by what they're doing right now, banning anyone to buy an MT and force people to gamble, people aren't willing to spend money on VC. People aren't willing to gamble in their current system. Banning them's not going to do that. Banning them's just going to make less and less players play the game. And the less people playing the game, the worse it is for 2K. And then the less people playing the game, the more they have to go and give out the best card in the game for free, like a Kevin Garnett, and giving us all these pink diamonds and opals. The less people playing, the more of these type of events they have to do. And like, the more juiced these cards have to be from these type of events. Because again, like, we can't forget, Spotlight Sims weren't that good. Like, Roko and Camera Edge competed. They weren't that good. But there was a lot of interest, so they could make the cards worse. The less interest, the better they have to make the cards. The better they make the free cards. The less people buy packs. It's a vicious cycle. If 2K don't change something up, they're going to continue to drop VC sales. If they keep going super packs on Tuesdays, and they keep going with the ridiculous odds and ridiculous packs on Fridays, it doesn't matter how many people you ban. It doesn't matter what you do, 2K. Nothing is going to change. So, lads, I stand by this point as well. When anyone who calls people buying MT cheating, you're like, okay, they cheated because they want to spend less money. They cheated because they want to spend less money and not gamble. I don't believe that's cheating. I don't believe that's cheating. Even if it's cheating in 2K's definition, I don't believe it's cheating. And this is the big thing. Someone said here, I think someone said in one of my replies, and it makes sense. It kind of made sense, but didn't. I think he responded here. It's like steroids and bodybuilding. One person using them in advance before you know it's around the community. I kind of agree. I think it's actually the opposite. I said it's not quite the same. It's like saying that not all steroids were legal, but you could buy steroids that cost, let's just say, $1 million a year, and they're perfectly legal. But if you can get the exact same product for $1,000 a year, and you only pay 1,000 instead of $1 million, you're gone. VC only creates the most pay to win aspect ever in my team history. It does. It creates the most gamble to win. And as someone who's against gambling, I'm so against VC purchases. But at the end of the day, every single person who got banned, well, I'm not going to say every single one because 99% of people deserved it. I hope 2K change. 2K have to change. I'm not going to be a person gaslighting 2K for banning people because I think the timing was bad. I think they were right to do it. MT selling has become so rampant this year that they had to do something, and this is what they've done. Now it's their time to be proactive and make a change so that this situation doesn't happen again. Because if they're not proactive, by the way, everyone's going to go back to buying MT, and then in 2 months' time, there's going to be a 30-day ban wave, and everyone who is on this ban wave is going to be on the 30-day ban wave. Because nobody, other than 250k quals, and that's up till March the 5th, nobody else, and I repeat, nobody else, if they don't make a change, is stopping buying MT. You heard it from me first.